Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a WordPress plugin that will allow you to display a chat icon on all pages. That's only it. Each page can have a different phone number. So these are the pages that you see on the menu. So each of the page can have different phone number. What do I mean by that? You see in this page the pages are listed, and along with the pages there are some input fields. So these input field accepts number. So what if the privacy policy page wants to have different kind of phone number for WhatsApp? So in that case it's very simple. I'll just have to write the number and click on save button. So these information are getting saved with the help of Ajax without page refresh. Now if I get into the privacy policy page and if I click on the button, it should redirect me to the number which is different, which I have entered, like these zeros. So the similarly masonry grid will have different number. So this is one such requirement where every website would like to have. If suppose there is a website which has multiple departments and each department will have a different salesperson, so in that case this kind of plugin is really useful. So enough about the intro. Let me show you what are the things that we are going to learn today. We are going to see how to create a database table. So you see these are the database table which is custom made. So these are the page ID. Each page in WordPress is saved as a post, and those posts will have an ID. That ID I am displaying it in the database table along with the phone number. Now again I will show you how to create this link. This is called top level menu link. So once I click on it, you will see a form. So this is actually a form. On the left hand side you see all the list of pages are being listed, and on the right hand side the relevant phone number that you want to save. So I have shown you how to we have listed all the pages on the left hand side, and I have shown you how this is a table but actually it's a form. Once you click on update, you will see it will get updated without page refresh. That's the beauty of this form. That's where we use our Ajax. And then finally the shortcode. In the front end we'll use a hook WP footer to display this kind of icon on all the pages. So this was possible. We won't be using shortcode in this video. We will be using the WP footer hook to hook this anchor tag with image inside it. Now enough about the intro. If you wish to learn similar kind of plugin development, I have a separate roadmap for it. I'll just show you. If you visit this link, this will provide you the roadmap to the WordPress developer, and I would recommend you to start from the HTML, which I'll teach how to convert PSG to HTML, and then jump into the CSS course, and then jump into the JavaScript course. So what's unique about this course? Each course, if I go to CSS, you will see it has about hundreds of projects. If you give yourself 3 months and you would call yourself as a pro CSS designer. The same way we have hundreds of projects in JavaScript. Again, if you give 3 months to it, you will be able to compete with someone who has about 2 years of experience. So each of the video is actually a project. You can use it as a portfolio. Along with that, I have provided the source code also, in case if you got stuck somewhere you can just copy paste it and start along coding. Then I would recommend you to jump into PHP, then jump into WooCommerce, and then jump into WP theme development, WordPress theme development, and then come to the plugin development, which is what we are doing right now in the YouTube. As of now, these courses are free, but as day passes, I'll just make this as a paid course, and that's it for the intro. Let's get into the code. First and foremost thing, I just have to deactivate the old current plugin so that it doesn't mess up with our plugin which I'm about to create. Now we need to create a new file. So this file should be inside the plugins folder. So WordPress has a folder specifically for plugins. So this is the folder where you can find inside the WP content, and the name of the folder is going to be, let's just say, chat. The folder is going to be chat. So it's recommended to have the folder name, or it is recommended to have the file name similar to folder name. I'm going to name it as chat.ppt, chat.php, because chat is actually the folder, and we want to show our plugin at this place. To show at this place, we need to fill some metadata. The metadata will be actually in the form of comment in PHP, and you have WhatsApp chat, and this is it. This is enough to show your plugin on this particular page. So you will see one more plugin, which is UI Monk chat, WhatsApp chat. If I click, once I click on activate, I want a table should get populated, and that table should have these columns. Let me just do that. We will be creating a custom table. So how do I know that a plugin got activated? We have a function called register activation hook that will do the work. So this register activation hook will have a will let you know the WordPress that some of the plugin got activated. Once it got activated, I'm creating a SQL query that will have the column ID, the another column page ID, then another column primary phone number, and I'm making the ID as a primary key, and I'm passing the table name. Here the table name is WCS underscore numbers. So if you know, if you look at the PHP myadmin, where your database, this is actually my database. Inside database there is something called WP underscore. So these are called prefix. So to know what prefix your current database is doing, we have access to the global object, which is wpdb. With this we can have access to the prefix, and we are appending the prefix with our custom table name, and this is for the character set. You don't have to worry about it. The character set is usually UTF-8 or ASCII. It's used for internal sorting. We don't have to worry about it. And I'm creating the SQL query, and I've stored it into a variable called query. Now SQL. Now what we need to do is we need to run this SQL. So to run this SQL, WordPress gives you a default function, inbuilt function, which is delta db. So delta db is actually defined in this particular path. So we need this folder to initialize the delta db. If it doesn't work, if you don't have this file, this delta db will not work. Since we are creating custom table, delta db is the function that we need to run. Since if we use the same existing database table, we would be using wp query. So that's the difference. I'm passing the SQL, and once it gets activated, refresh the page. Once it gets activated, you will see the table, new table name over here. If I click on A1, you should see WCS number 2. This is the database, that table that we have created on activation of the plugin. So that's enough. Now we need to show this slug is not available. That's okay. Now we need to show a top level menu on this page. To create a top level menu, we have a hook called admin menu. So this admin menu hook will call a function that will initialize the top level menu. So this is the page name, this is the h1, this is the capability for the admin, which is manage option, and this is the slug. So once I click on it, the slug should change. So this is the URL. Actually this is a relevant function that need to be triggered when I click on the button. So in this case, when I click, I just want echo to display hello. That's it. Now you will see top level menu. These are called top level menu, by the way. If I click it, you will see simply hello. But now I want to display the HTML. The HTML will be the table that will display the list of pages. So let me just display the raw table first. The raw table is nothing but your HTML without PHP. Now we just have a heading h1 and then a table. I'll just show first, and then you will see we have a first TD which will have some random ID. So this is going to be the ID of the page, and we'll convert the page ID to the name. So we'll get the name, and we have an input field that will hold the ID of the page. So if you remember this, we are storing the page ID. So to store the page ID, we have an input field, and simultaneously we have a phone number. Now I want you to understand that we would be having two arrays, one array for the IDs, second array for the phone numbers. So let's say the ID is something like this, is stored something like this, and the phone number is also stored something like this, y comma y comma y comma. So when I say this first, so this first will refer to this first, and this last will refer to the last number of the phone number. Now how are we going to sort this? To sort it, I'll clearly explain you what it is, but as of now understand that we would be storing one for the page ID, one for the phone number. So phone number over here, and for the page ID it's over here. So we are using the array. We are storing the array as, let's first display the number of pages. To get the number of pages, we have a function get pages, and simply this get pages will get the, consider this as a query, and this query has outputted the number of rows. So these number of rows will have the number of pages. Now what I have done is I have run the for each loop so that we can access individual row. So each individual row, each page will have a WhatsApp number which I said. So that's what I am getting. So individual page will have a phone number. If there is phone number, then display the phone number in the value attribute of this one, of this on this place. If there is no value, then just the placeholder. And the same way, if there is anyway, every page will have a title. So with the help of the pages, we'll have access to the title, and I'll display the title. So as of now, what we will have is empty text, empty field, and that seems to be enough because we have not defined the table. We need to define the table so that we can run the query to get the output. And now you see, these are the list of tables. This we have accessed with the help of the get pages, and we have displayed the title with the help of this pages array. There would be array, the array will be a rows of the page list of pages, and there will be a hidden field. If there is, I'm just making this text to show you. These are the IDs. These are actually the IDs. I'll just leave it as it is so that you can see. So clicking on the save, these are stored in this array PN IDs, and these are stored in the array PN numbers. So when I click on the save changes, I want an Ajax to run. So what we will do is, we need to write Ajax, we need JavaScript, and we need to append the JavaScript into this file. So for that, what we will do is, we need to enqueue the scripts. So that script that only need to append on this particular page. How do we define that this particular page should have that script? With the help of the slug. So actually, if I click on it, you'll see the slug, WCS setting, the slug. So based on the slug, first I'll activate the hook, which is admin enqueue script. Admin enqueue script is for the backend, just WP enqueue script is for the front end. Since we are in the admin enqueue script, we are in the dashboard's backend form. Now this hook will actually have access to this slug. So how do WordPress know that these pages, that it's actually a backend? With the help of this top level underscore slug. So if you see top level underscore xxx, this xxx will actually be slug. So these are the top level menus. If I click on it, you'll see the slug changes something like something. So these are default pages, these will have slug. If there is a custom page, they would have slug. No, none of them have. So consider this as a this is actually a custom page which has a slug. So to use this slug, to understand that this is actually the page that the script need to run. WordPress gives you a keyword which is top level underscore page underscore and a slug, and we are defining the same. If this is not the page, then just exit from the function. If not, continue the code. I'm enqueuing a script. That script is actually called wcs underscore admin.js. Now I need to create a copy, control N, control paste, control S. It is JavaScript file. Now I am saying to the WordPress that I need a dependency of the jQuery. I'm saying to the WordPress that first load the jQuery and then load my custom JS. And I'm saying that I don't want versioning, and I'm saying that load this in the head. If it is head, it's true. If it is false, then it will load in the footer. And this is actually the location of the file. The plugin directory will give you the URL to the plugin directory, which is actually the plugin folder, and then inside the plugin folder we have our folder which is chat, and inside the chat we have WCS admin. So I'm locating the path for my custom JS, and before loading my custom JS I want the dependency of jQuery. That's what I have mentioned in the dependency section. Now after that we have a WP localize script. In the previous video I have shown you why do we use WP underscore localize underscore script. The reason for using WP underscore localize underscore script is to give PHP variable to the JavaScript. How it will be sent? It will be sent in the form of object x and y. Consider x is nothing but the URL and the y is nothing but the admin URL. So I'm passing the URL in the form of JSON. And how do I access this? I can access this with the help of this variable. So we have access to this variable, then I'll use dot, then I'll use URL. So when I say this in the JavaScript file, I will have access to this URL, and this URL will nothing but the wp-admin and then our admin-ajax.php. So I'm passing the PHP variable to the JavaScript. It's nothing but this URL. Now we can use this Ajax URL in our JavaScript. Now before that, when I click on save button, we have a form. You can see we have a form with ID WCS, and inside the form we have list of fields, input field, and I want to store all the input field value in one URL. So for that, what we'll do is we'll use a serialize function. So the first line says when the jQuery loads, when the HTML completely loads, run this code. So when I click on the form, when I click on the button, so this is actually a button. When I click on the button, what should happen? I want the form to serialize. So there are multiple number of input field, and I want these input field should get automatically appended on the URL. So that's the reason I'm using serialize, and that can be accessed with the help of form data. So this form data will have the information of these phone number, also these input field hidden. Now I'm using the Ajax. Since as I said, I'm using the PHP URL in the JavaScript, so that's why we have written localize script, and I'm passing the form data. Form data is nothing but the input field hidden and the phone number, and I'm specifying the action. In the previous episodes we have seen how to use Ajax. This action is required for that to know that where the Ajax request is triggered and which function or the hook will handle the Ajax raised by this code. And I'm repeating again, this action is required for the hook to understand which JavaScript file, which JavaScript or which PHP function that it need to hit, so that they can get the output. So once it hit the hook, which I'll create in a minute, and the response we will get it, and we will append it into the into the div, which is nothing but the WordPress class updated, and we'll get the green color success message. Cool. Now with this action, let's create a function. This function is actually a hook which will have, now as I said, this, when the request is sent, this request is understood by the WordPress will understand in such a way that the way how you give the action. I have given this action, so the hook with wp underscore Ajax underscore this slug what you have given, or the action that you have given, is responsible for executing the code which is through the Ajax. So what we need, we have access to the phone number, we have access to the ID. So you see, we have the ID and we have the phone. Now we just need to link these with the help of index number. So first of all, let me just fetch these values from the URL. Since we have appended the form data into the URL, now we need to have access to this. So to have access, we have sent those into the form of post variable. So we need to access the post variable. So this is the post variable, which is actually an array. This is an array, and this is an array. As said already, these are the arrays. Now we would be doing two things. If there is the phone number is already there, then we just need to update it. If the phone number and the page is not there, we need to create it. So for that we need the help of the database to check whether the page is already there or not. If the page is already there, then we need to update it. If the page is not already there, then we need to create it. In the sense, we'll use the insert query. So we will be using the update query and the insert query. That's the reason I have used the wpdb. And also we will be running the loop, for each loop, so that we get the index. So this is first index, and this is second index, and this is third index, and this is fourth index. This can be accessed with the help of for each loop. So IDs is actually the page ID, and these are the index. And as I have said, if there is actually the page ID that is defined, then use the update query. If the page is not defined, the phone number is not defined, then use the insert query. Now we can use, if I say 84336 random number with +91, if I click on save, you'll see I don't get a message. Let's see. Yes, it got saved. And once it gets saved, we need to send the success message as well. We should send the success message and say that, and close the Ajax code with the help of wp-die. So if I make a refresh and try to add some random value over here and click on save, you should see the success message. So these will be sent to the Ajax, and again Ajax append this into the HTML over here. Now since we are able to update the phone number, now it's time for the front end to have the code. So what actually need to happen? So in the front end, I just need to know which page actually I am in. So to know which page actually I am in, just like WordPress gives you wpdb global object, WordPress also gives you post global object. So with post global object, you will know that actually you are in which page. So you will get the ID. So we'll use that. So we'll use the wp footer now. So this is actually the wp footer, and as said, you will get to know which is the post ID with the post super global variable. Now I'll use the wp footer, and it will run a query and understand we are actually in which ID. So we'll get that ID, and based on the ID we have assigned the phone number also. So based on the ID we have assigned the phone number also. We'll get that phone number, and simply we'll write the CSS for the sticky button, and then we'll write the anchor tag. Inside the anchor tag we have an image for the font, WhatsApp image, and then And then what we'll do is on the anchor tag I'll just link my phone number which I have received based on the condition of the post ID with the help of post super global variable. Now that's enough. Each of them will have a phone number. Once I click on it, you'll see 000, all the numbers with 99. And the same way, if I update the phone number of the read mode to something like this random number, and again if I refresh the page, the phone number would get updated, and if I click on it, there would be another phone number for the chat. Cool. I hope the scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening. Meet you tomorrow with another hook. So the thing that we have learned today is how to use the post super global variable to identify which page you are in, and based on that fetch the phone number. Along with that, we usually run the code to get all the rows, but WordPress gives you a function called get pages which will give you the list of rows with the title name of the page. Thank you so much for listening.